Hello, everyone, and I would like you to meet my today co-host and guest. Today with me, Dumitru Condrea, who is usually joining as a co-host, and I really would like to introduce Anna Kovalenko, who is VP of HR at DashDevs, and today she will share with us the common topic, the art of building strong teams and what not to do. Thank you, guys. Welcome.
Hello, Anna.
Hi, everyone. Really nice to be here today.
So I think the topic is quite big, and it would be marvelous if we will fit into the 40 minutes. And in this case, I would like to start with Anna and to discuss what is your experience of building strong teams, and particularly in fintechs. Maybe a little bit of background. Anna is a VP of HR at DashDevs for almost 5 years, and she has a really great experience building strong teams, facilitating and coaching team members and employees. And I would like to know, what do you think was the biggest challenge for you for those 5 years in the field of building strong teams?
Yeah, it's a huge topic, and I'm not sure that I'll answer straight away. But to start with, I guess it's a good point to start with what the team is actually, because we use the word team every day, like conflict, toxic, I don't know, dopamine. Some buzzwords exist, and the team is also one of those buzzwords. Everyone wants to have a team. Everyone wants to build a team. Everyone wants to have an effective team. But a team is not just a group of people. A team is something extra. And there are different theories of team building. But one of them, I guess, is that the team is something that is built for a short period of time. So not the group of people cannot work as a team consistently. I mean, through years. You cannot be in that mode because scientists, people who research this topic, they say that a team is a combination of very high orientation on production, on business needs, and the same high orientation on people. And it's very difficult to manage it and to build it and to keep up with this expectation that the team will produce and the team will be motivated, engaged, and excited. So, yeah, for me, the team is a way of gathering people, a way of producing something, and but it's not required for business to exist. So some groups of people, some really good managed groups, may not be teams, but they may still produce results. So that's my point of view on the teams before we jump into the problems that exist there. And maybe you would like to add something on this point of view.
Okay. Thank you. It's quite common approach, I would say, to start with the definitions, because by sharing the common understanding what we discuss, and we will have much more productive and deeper conversation. And Dumitru, what is your definition of the team? Like, we can exchange of our visions, and then we can start building up the discussion, how they created, how they managed, and what not to do.
The team for me is, the definition is classical one, and very common with what Anna just said. A team is a group of people which were united and motivated to work for a specific project activity. And because I'm a manager. For me, a team cannot exist without a manager. Manager doesn't mean that specifically a project manager or a team lead, or someone who gave a focus and gave a direction for the team. And the team so the main goal of the team is to work together and to achieve expected results and planned results. Well, sometimes a team can achieve unexpected results, but it also can be, counted. Simple. I don't see that in a team we need to dig very, very much in the definition of a team, because you cannot form a team you can form a team only from people. And if a human being is involved in something, it means you have to take in consideration emotional part a lot. You have to take in consideration different things.
Okay. It's quite interesting because for me, it took quite a lot of years as an engineer to acknowledge and maybe accept that managing people requires formal and maybe informal part, which is managing the emotional and emotions within the team, because certain things can be structured as organization, like you are hiring people and then they position to do certain work as engineers or not. And it doesn't mean that you're building a team. It might be the group of people. And if I would express my definition, the team is a group of people who is bond not just in a formal way, but in an informal way to achieve specific and acknowledge results for the business. So that's a pretty cool line between group and the team. And sometimes we tend to think that the group is acting as a team, and vice versa. Sometimes we are not appreciating that the specific group of people, they're acting as a team, and we're still taking and perceiving it as just a group of people as a functional one. So I think that's one of the first topic that we can discuss. And Anna, what is your vision how to make sure when we're hiring and adding people to a specific group into the company or the project or even, I don't know, ad hoc project, like what is really important to do or not to do to make sure that this group will become the team?
Yeah. Firstly, I agree with your definitions of the team. Basically, if to draw a line, the main idea is that those people are united with some mission and some extra goal to achieve, and from here we can think of the problems or challenges that may emerge when we are building a team. And when I was thinking about it before the recording, I thought that the main two challenges are building trust within a team, and the second one is diversity of the team. And by diversity, I'm not talking right now just about the nominal diversity, like we need to hire different people from different backgrounds because it is fashionable or, I don't know, trendy way. I'm talking about diversity of thought. So people cannot be the same as the manager who hires those people, because it causes the groupthink, and people just say, yeah, I like your ideas. Yeah, no conflict, no additional ideas, no generation of something new. So it's just the prototypes of the manager, and the manager is within all of these people, and it's this team, this group, it doesn't generate anything new. So yeah, it was the second point, diversity, and the first one is building trust. If there is no trust between the team members, or if there is no trust between the manager and those members, it also doesn't work, because people won't upbring the problems. People won't bring up the problems. People won't talk about something that they think can be improved. And yeah, so it will be just compliance with the ideas of the manager. So those two things, they cause the stagnation within the team. They may cause the problems with deadlines, because if people do not follow the if people just follow the orders and they do not bring their ideas, all the crisis won't be mitigated, and the work will be stalled. Yeah, so I guess these are two pillars for me of building a strong team.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing. And Dumitru, like, what is your view?
Anna just mentioned the main problem of communism. If people will just respond to orders. That's it. Everything will be in crisis. So this is the definition of communism, at least I think so. So it's the perfect one. But if to speak about the definition of a successful team, I totally agree with Anna regarding the trust. In my case, I once I learned that I think a very, very good thing from one man. He hired me. It was, I think, 7 or 8 years ago. He hired me, and first call with him, he said, "Listen, I'll give you 100% of my trust, credit trust. So from today, everything you come, all ideas, you don't have to build the trust. You don't need to build this credit. You don't need to demonstrate me that you are smart. I believe in you. I believe that you are smart. I believe in your professionalism. I believe in your experience. And I will work with you as I'm working with you like for years. So every day, your actions will, by your actions, you will increase this trust credit or decrease. So you will come, so basically it means that if I will come with a good idea, with an idea, and based on results, based on the actions, based on everything that will be done, this idea will provide success to the company or wherever. It means that I will achieve an additional credit trust from 100% to 120, and vice versa. So I like this very much, this approach, and till today I'm doing the same with everyone I'm hiring in my team. Said, listen, I hired you because I don't know, maybe you for years, or I know only for 2 days or 3 days, but I hired you because I see the potential, I see your experience, and I trust you. If I will not trust you, then why I hired you? So yeah, trust, very, very important thing.
I've
Igor.
never thought about it in this way, but it's perfect.
Yeah, Igor, by the way, how did you build your team?
That's a hard question for me because fairly, I started several times, and I can maybe even fragment into three cases that I had in my experience. The really first one is pretty interesting because I've started the first company, because DashDevs, it's not my first company, in early 2004. And I started with a group of engineers who also used to be developers. We started our own company. We started even without the name. And we started with the trust. And it might be a little bit similar to your case when the group has the trust, but then you do actions. And by those actions, we got into the situation when certain decisions has been made without consent of all the group, and it builds some kind of distrust, or like the situation when you don't know what are the team members up to, what they decide in, how they making their decision, and that forced me out of this group. So first experience was, okay, there is 100% trust. But in the end, you're ending up in the situation when you are out of the control, when you're out of the decisions, and then I made out from the company. And the company didn't last long, but that was the first experience. And that's why maybe the second time when I started on my own. And it was complete like a flip, 100% in other direction, because I've started with the vision that I want to build a functional team which is capable to deliver results, to do the stuff. And this emotional part or the trust part wasn't the first subject or even second. Like I started to build the processes. I started to make sure that the functional managerial functions or managerial items are properly done. And it worked for a while, and I would say for a couple of years. But then when we had really critical project, we delivered it. But in the end of this project, I understood that I have a group of people who can technically do certain stuff. But beyond a specific line, then there is no trust. And there is no taken accountability. So people are doing functional stuff, but they're not taking accountability on the large scope. They're not taking accountability to evolve the things. And that was my second fail, because I understood that just building the functional team doesn't mean that you have a team. And then I started the third time, and that's when Anna joined the company. And I think that was the biggest and the nicest impact of my way of thoughts. So I understood that you cannot take just one way, you need to combine it. And from this moment, we started to build groups and teams with the functional requirements, with the position profiles, with understanding what we're expecting from those people, how it matches to the market, but also keeping in mind that we are human, we have emotions, we have a need for relationship, emotional professionalism, etc., etc. And I would say it's a kind of hybrid solution for me, especially for myself, like coming from introvert approach and coming from engineering background. And it seems that that's a correct way, that you need to balance out and find the equilibrium between emotional, non-emotional stuff. And then it's really hard to achieve because you need to have a good internal ability to estimate like what is really you would like to serve as emotional part, but also what you would like to provide as a functional and rational part. And it's really hard to maintain. It's really hard to acknowledge it. And it took me fairly a decade.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very, very long trip to achieve. So you balanced at the beginning, you went to one extreme, then you went to another extreme, and now you just came back to the middle.
Somewhere in between, but it was a really long journey. And I would say all the changes were made not due to success, but due to the failure.
Yes.
Because in my experience, like the life-changing or like certain things which are triggering the change, they're usually like the bad side. Something doesn't work as you expect. And then it makes you to think, okay, I thought it will work, but in the end it didn't. And I need to think what exactly failed. And then you're coming up with a more adult approach, like you're not so perfectionist, you're not so eager to everyone to think the same way as you do, to perceive the world the same way as you. And then you understand, okay, people are different. They have different emotions. They have different needs. And I think that's the most hardest part about building the teams, like acknowledging and understanding the real human nature and the real needs of the business.
But Maslow pyramid, but this is just all the time when I'm doing team building, where I'm building a team where I want to motivate them. First thing I put an accent is just take the Maslow pyramid and take a look what's on the base. So people want to have stability. People want to have money. They want to, because with money they can buy food. They want security. So sometimes in building a strong team, sometimes you have to just open the book of Maslow and just read it and give to your team a feeling of security, because a feeling of security made us work together as a species, and well, it means that to be a part of a team. So to be a part of a team, it's something very, very old, inserted in our genes or in our behavior. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, maybe I have one analogy, because like a lot of things are driven by our fear of death. And in common science, I would say, or common psychology, the fear of death is split into two types. Fear of like a certain, which is might damage you, like certain things, events, I don't know, something like that. And the second one, which I find really unique, is the fear to be eliminated from the group. And if you think this way, a lot of actions are driven, even unconsciously, that we think that a specific group that we tend to cooperate with, we will be eliminated or left by the group, and that means death, the social one. So you might be physically okay, but you're left out, and this fear drives a lot of actions and non-actions, like a freezing, I don't know, like three common stuff: fight, flight, and freeze. So that might be the response of this fear. So this it's quite deep, but I think on some level it should be acknowledged and kept as an understanding of the manager that sometimes for a person to be left out from the decisions or from the visibility might be a little but still social death.
Mm-hmm.
Just a small question. So it means that even introverts, they have the fear of being eliminated from social
Yeah, of
group.
course.
Okay.
All the people, because we used to be a part of small communities, tribes,
Yeah.
and those tribes were created just to survive, and it was like for centuries. And evolution is not that fast. So,
Yeah.
right now we can survive without a tribe, but the idea of a tribe is still innate, and we are born with a wish, with a need to be a part of a group.
But I
Sometimes I
think
have.
that the idea to survive without a tribe is pretty fairly new. It's like, I don't know, 300 years? Because assume
Less.
being left alone in forest or somewhere in any age, surviving by itself, it's pretty harsh thing. So in this case, I don't think that we acknowledged that we can survive without being the part of the specific group is something new. Even with the metropolis, I think it's even in rural areas, it's not possible even today.
Well, what you're just told, it called now to go to a retreat, to go in the forest, close yourself, building a shelter, wherever. Just open social medias and you'll see a lot of videos about this. And by the way, this is my dream for I think 2 weeks already, because I want to go somewhere and just close up everything and except my wife and my daughter, just not to say anyone, but unfortunately. By the way, okay, we discussed about the team. What means a team? We discussed how it has to be. I mean, the first step to build a team, trust. Okay, agree. We build a team. We have team members. What are like the next steps to maintain the team? Anna, in your experience, what is what is a classical playbook for maintaining a team?
It's
Maybe
a long one.
building corporate structure or corporate rules, maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I also wanted to add that Igor, in the first question to me, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, he asked about the failures or something like that. And I guess an unpopular truth is that people think that you can build a team from the hiring stage. So when you hire, you can choose this perfect one. But as we've discussed, it's not possible usually. And as I work with Igor for 5 years, I also know this, and he knows this. And it's a process of trials. So of course, you can do an interview, you can do 10 interviews, doesn't matter. But after that, you need to try, you need to practice, you need to work with this person for 3-6 months, because the managerial role is not that crystal clear. It's not like you start for a week and you either do or not do your work. No, it doesn't work like that. So you should see the long-term results, and it takes time. You cannot evaluate the manager, or Igor has subordinates of Igor are managers. That's why I'm talking about it. So you cannot evaluate a manager in 1 week. You need longer time, and it was, as far as I remember, Igor didn't like this part. Let's say like this. So yeah, this idea that you need a lot of time to understand whether a person fits or doesn't fit, and after that maybe continues this change management until you gather this team. So that was also an important part. It takes a lot of time, effort, and it's not only a recruiting process. So of course, the people you interview, the selection you do, the process, the criteria, competencies, all of this is important. Without this, your choice will be worse. But it still may not be perfect. I just wanted to highlight this part. And if we are talking about how to manage this team, of course, you've mentioned an important part considering motivation. So why a person should work here? So why this person should, why this person have a wish, have a desire to improve something in your business, and working with motivation is very important because if you don't know what drives a person, in some time, it depends on the person, it depends on the environment, but in some short period of time, the motivation of the financial one, it disappears. So there should be some other senses, and HRs talk a lot about senses in the last 10 years, I guess, that people now are extremely interested in the mission, vision, values of a business. So why this business exists, what value it gives to the society, to the world, why should I take part in this endeavor, etc. And basic needs, of course. So if we're talking about different motivational theories, for example, there is a Herzberg's motivational theory, and he talks about basic factors and extra factors. And basic factors are like finance. So I know some maybe basic benefits like vacations, I don't know. And extra benefits are those that I'm already talking about, like senses, maybe good relationships with your manager, maybe if the teamwork is important, the fact that you have a team. So it depends on a person, his or her individual motivation. And if we're talking about the motivation of a team as a group, we always talk about objectives. So this team must understand the goal it has, because if the team doesn't have a goal, it does nonsense usually. So I would say that we start with an individual motivation of each group member, and if everything is in some way plus or minus good, we can continue to the team level, and there should be at least common sense, common goal, common vision. Where do we go? And I will stop here.
No, you're totally right. I was thinking, you were telling about Igor, and I was thinking, okay, how am I? For example, I'll be honest. For me, first impression, not all the time is right. This is the right one. And I am the person who needs a little bit of time to understand the person. I know people who can from just 5 minutes or 2 minutes of discussion with a person can make a very good profiling of that person. So in their cases, a first impression works. And here works. I mean, I know that such people, that when they are hiring other people, if they have the impression that this person is not a good fit, it's not a good fit. I'm giving because I have a different things. I'm giving all the time. I have different feelings and different emotions. I need time. So this is why for me it's very important to have the trial period. And during the trial period, I'm very, very honest to the person, saying, "Hey, it's a trial period for you. It's a trial period for us." Because sometimes but not sometimes. I mean, you also look on us. You see what's happening in the company, because before if you want to achieve to acquire a good staff, a good personnel, or a good professional, you have to sell yourself, to sell your company. So this is why a trial period is a period when, from one side, we are selling as a company, we are selling ourselves, and there is a vice versa process from that side. So yeah, I just wanted to point out that I'm such kind of a person. But motivation, financial motivation. You mentioned that financial motivation disappears. No, it doesn't disappear. It just goes on the background. It's my opinion. It goes on the background, because when you know that you're receiving a good salary or a good income, and it's monthly, quarterly, yearly, wherever. And your background, I mean, you can come with those money at home. You can purchase food. You can purchase, I don't know, you pay the gasoline, a new car, a new house. Yes, that things go in background because they are normal. They are just usual. And yes, in that moment appears the idea of like how the management treats me, and what are my ideas took into consideration or not, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So, I'll just this small things. I think that it's very important in company to provide, so to keep your team united, to provide next things. First, a good dose of sarcasm. And if you don't have someone who, if you as a leader, you don't have a sarcasm, then find someone from the team who provide this dose of sarcasm, because humor, sarcasm, it makes people just feel a bit more friendly and gives a more friendly environment. It's very important to have in the team to have, or you as a leader, or you find someone who will be the glue, the social glue, not the person who will just translate the information from one person to another, but like gossips and so on, but a person who will be social glue, like, hey, what happened with you, and so on. It's not mandatory that the HR or someone from HR department can be such kind of a person. And the last but not least, the person, it's very important to have in your company, in your group, to have non-formality. I mean, listen, even if I'm your manager or you are my superior, let's be peers. Peers outside of work, peers during drinking coffee in the kitchen, sharing the problems. It's very, very important. Imagine a situation when I face this situation. So I'm telling you from real cases. So imagine that you have a person who is working in your organization, under your organization, and he or she has a problem, has an issue at home. That person comes to work and it's not he or she is not sharing with anyone, and you have no clue what's happening inside of that person. And it can affect your work directly, because that person can go into depression or any kind of other things. That person can, and you are losing a capacity that provides you money, because his work is money. So it's very, very important. And it's very linked to the trust we mentioned already.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe in this case, since I'm a hyper-rational person, I'm trying to define certain words and definitions, and we started with that. And during the discussion, I heard two parts. One is the trial period and hiring the person. And during this period, I would say, for me personally, it's really hard to filter out the person by results, because during the discussion, during even the discussions about previous experience or certain things that the person did previously, it's like imaginary situations, because your position, your configuration, your team, your business cases will be different. And I'm always trying to not confirm, but to filter out the cultural and red flags. So in this case, while discussing something with the person, for me personally, it's important to understand that we have common grounds. If we're going to solve something that we didn't solve before, we need to have a common language, common approach, common background to tackle the issues, discuss them, and find the way out, how to solve it. That's one part. And the second one, which Anna mentioned, for me, it was really hard to grasp, although it still exists, is adaptation. Because if you are hiring the person who is culturally matched, have the required experience, it's still required to have the adaptation time in the team, into the company, into the project, because certain things might be much harder with the less information available, with a longer period of time to be adopted into the specific role. And it doesn't mean that the person doesn't have an experience or is a bad cultural match. So by consciously splitting those two processes, then we might have a better image of the reality in our heads. And that's one part. And the second one which I heard from the discussion, like we have a motivation. We definitely, as managers, we would like to build a connection, the formal one as a function, as a position, as a managerial, and then informal one, have an ability to discuss hard things or even friendly to say, I don't have any resources or capacity to work today. I'm just exhausted. I need to go home because I have a family issues or whatever. And it works as a managerial one. But something that took me, once again, a really long time to acknowledge, and I used the external help. I went to Harvard Business School online for one course, and it was about managing professional service teams. And it really struck me that the real way to keep the person in your team and motivate the person, beside the financial motivators, etc., is to have the real willingness to help this person to become a better professional. Like, we are using a lot of words, we're using a lot of motivation, but something which feels totally different when you're internally, as a person, believe that you can help another person to become a better professional. You might not even tell it out loud. Like, you might not say, like, I will help you. But every time when you come in with a certain case, with a certain issue, you give an ability to this person to own and have the accountability for fixing something. But as a mentor, as a coach, as a manager, you can say, from my experience, I've done this and that. And I think this part, if you try this or learn something new, it will help you in the future. And it feels totally different. Like, to motivate people to work with you and to build real great teams, you need to be strong manager and really the person who cares about other people. And I think like that's quite simple phrase, like to care about the people and their professional development, but it's not stressed enough in the managerial approaches.
Hmm.
I will agree with you, but not till the end, because
That's good.
because we need. I mentioned about being a peer, yes, being equal sometimes, and so on. But we need to keep a little bit of limits, not forget about them, and help someone else to be better than you, or to grow. Okay, help someone to grow is a very good thing, but not because it's natural to transfer the knowledge and experience. Sometimes people are not ready to do this, and you have to ready to be coached, not ready to be taught, just to achieve some good results. And you have to be very, very cautious here, because coaching someone, explaining someone something, means that you interfere with his freedom of will, if we can say events like this. So because you just, of course, if you're here, you are the manager or superior to that person. So the different topic. He receives money or she receives money for renting his or her free will. But we have to be very, very cautious here. I also like to coach. I like to grow people in my organization, to make them better. And all the time I'm always saying that a good manager is the manager. Well, this is in the case of managers, of course, only. But a good manager is that person who can build the processes in a such way that everything works without him. I honestly think that the role of the leader, the role of the manager is, at the beginning, you have to build the processes, inclusively processes, human process between people, motivate them, build everything. And in one moment, you just go back and you just look, and everything works without you. And it's great. By the way, this is one of the good skills that each of the CEO or owner of a company has to have. And this is very, very, very important. Just to help people motivate, build a trustable environment, and then step back. But trustable environment also means when you also don't cover the physical, psychological needs, you cover the physiological needs. Why not? You're covering security needs. You're cover even. I just found here some interesting things, and I'm like reading from another screen. But also, very good. A good thing for building a team is esteem. Is the esteem of the people in your team. Remember this thing when we were, in different courses, even in Harvard Business School or in other courses of different universities, every time a lot of professors are saying, say thank you, say good job. And I remember that at the beginning I was looking at this like, come on, this is maybe because I'm from Eastern Europe, but for me it was like, seriously? Even if a guy take the pencil from here and put it here, I have to tell him that's a good job. And I was surprised during my experience that yes, because for me it's just taking the pencil and put from here to here, from point A to point B. But for him or for her, it can be the entire universe. I know a guy
about positive reinforcement, yeah.
Yes, esteem like making him like, you're great, you do this, and the person have self-esteem raised. I know a case. This case happened like recently. One person received one of my friend. We were in a group of friends celebrating Christmas. It was more close to New Year. Anyway, so celebrating New Year and Christmas, and we were discussing. And one guy said, like, listen, I was raised to another level, so he became a C level. But the company where he's working is really little one, a company that it's still a startup, company where he has a lot of things to do, and so on, so on, so on. And all of us, we said like, good job, great, nice. And all of us, we understand the level of the company. Nothing big, but one of our friends who is very pragmatic, a person who is telling the truth all the times without the fear that he can be, receive a strong feedback, said like, yeah, it's nice, great, but and the problem was that person was worried about this. Like, I'm worried. I don't know if I'm good at this position. And it was a discussion between friends. And that guy told, like, you don't have to be worried because the company is so small one. This you were moved to C-level because you were moved in nothing, in a void, So don't be afraid. This was honest message to that person, and that person did it from the best, friendly intentions. Yes. And I saw that person, the guy who was promoted recently. I looked at him and was like, and I saw the deception in his face. Like, yeah, the company is little one, and I'm from nothing to nothing, basically promoted. The problem of this team, what I said, when I was just Googling, like, okay, I wanted to be very smart to sound smart in this podcast, and I started to Google here. And I saw this team was like, yeah, great. And then I remembered what happened a few weeks ago. Like, Jesus, esteem is a very important thing for seems like esteem is very important for us.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I will jump into this discussion about coaching, because you told certain things like you cannot tell the person what to do. And I think it can be shifted a little bit. And I would like ask Anna to tell the difference how you're coaching and how you're directly managing, because I assume telling like go do and that, it doesn't work in management. And the coaching means a little bit different thing. And since Anna has a lot of experience with that, can you elaborate a little bit, like when we say coach, what exactly it means in the actions?
It depends on who are we talking to, because some companies and business in general, business environment can understand coaching in two ways. The first way is like coach, like football coach, and it can be in business. So a person who teaches you to do something, who guides you basically, who is smarter, more experienced, etc. And this person like pushes you a little bit, but not too hard. So yeah, the coach may be another person, not always your direct manager, or it may be a direct manager who influences you in this way. The second one, the second definition of coaching, maybe from International Coaching Federation, and it's a little bit different. It's about being like a partner to a person you're coaching, and not giving your judgment, not pushing, not pressing, not teaching, not being a priest to this person. You just ask valid questions. So you ask, what is another way of doing this, or how, what is the problem at all? So to start from the definitions, if a person comes with a problem, you define the problem. For example, you ask other ways the person can solve this problem, or other resources that this person may need, or so you create a context out of these questions for a person to find his or her own way of solving this problem. So those two definitions are a little bit different. So sometimes coaching is a little bit more like a coach in a sport, and sometimes coach is more like a person who guides you a little bit with questions, with the right questions, with highlighting the right things for you to think about, because the person can see, because the coach, a manager who does this coaching function, firstly, this manager understands the business, understands the managerial side, and the second thing is that this person sees the situation maybe from the helicopter view, or just like from different perspective. And those two factors, they help the employee, the subordinate, to find a better solution. And coaches in general say that this way is better almost always. If a person is capable of finding a solution, if you know this, so if it's not the type of management when a person doesn't know what to do, and you say, find your way. No, it doesn't work. But if you understand that the person has a capacity and resources and etc., but it just needs a little bit of right point of view, so the coaching works always better because the person finds his or her own solution, and we as people are wired to our solutions. We do not want to do what is told. Even if a manager says the right way of doing something, we don't actually want to do it. So if we have two options, to do what manager told us, or to do what the solutions that we found by ourselves, by our way of thinking, we always choose the second one, because that is our decision, that is from our head. We are smart, not our manager is smart in this way. Yeah, that's why people like it more. But from the managerial point of view, it takes more time, because it takes 1 minute to tell a person what to do, and it takes maybe 1 hour to coach this person to find a solution. So this person will go out of the conversation and say, "Oh, I found the solution. It's a good one. I found it."
Igor, by the way, you're a business owner. How you motivate your team? You use the logic of having a carrot in front, like some managers unofficially recognize it.
It's a really tricky question by having my direct subordinate in this podcast. I would say that my style differed or has been different in different periods, as I said. And before the current one, I was more direct one. Like, I have a strong vision how to do this stuff, and I have more experience. And after all, sometimes I'm the final person who is taking the accountability for the outcome. So I was using it a lot. But recently, not recently, but for several years already, I would say that I shifted more toward giving an ability to take accountability by confirming from both sides that we understand what should be achieved on the business KPIs or results. Like, instead of providing the carrot, you're discussing and understanding on the both ends that we know what we want to achieve as a team. And then it works well because you are not limiting into the decisions, you are not limiting into the tools. The manager and I'm trying to supply with the resources needed to achieve the business needs, but this person has a free will and accountability to do the things which can be done by this person. So it's more lean into the libertarian, I would say, but with a common understanding what we're trying to get. And it's shifted. It required a lot of my self-work, and maybe in the first place even self-esteem, because I used to think like I'm the smart person, and sometimes I have certain experience and I know a lot. And it took me a while to understand that I'm not the smartest cookie in the box. And I'm trying to work this way with the team. So I'm hiring the people, I'm working with the team who knows more than I do in different fields. And we are collaborating as a team to get more results.
Absolutely correct. Jack Ma, I think said this.
Yeah.
I'm hiring, guys, people who are smarter than me.
And in this case, let's have the final round about dons, because we talked and we tackled certain like no-goes, how to do not demotivate the people, but maybe the one or two things that you would not recommend as a manager to use or to have as an instrument your managerial process or in the process of building the team. Like, what do you think? What it's going to be?
From the previous discussion, I have like a billion of ideas. I will try to merge them in 1 or 2 minutes. Firstly, I wanted to comment on the idea of reinforcement, on saying thank you, etc. To people. There is like a little tip here. It's important to tell people what are you thanking them for, because if you just say thank you, a good job, a person may not understand what was a good job actually. It may sound a little bit strange, but actually people don't understand. That's a problem of a manager. So you need to always highlight this what was good. So not thank you for the presentation, but thank you for the presentation that was impactful for I don't know, for the deal with this client, for example, or something like that. And this is a positive reinforcement. So a person understands, oh, I did good and I can do it one more time to receive this positive reinforcement. Another thing is negative reinforcement, when we always say that something is bad, or we ignore a person, or we comment only negative things that people do. It may cause learned helplessness, when the person just says, I can't do anything basically, so I won't even try. And that's a problem I wanted to mention. So the worst things that can happen to me in my team or group, doesn't matter, is this idea that nothing can be changed. I guess you might have had this situation when a person or a group or your team says that this is how the company works. We cannot change it. We cannot impact it. So we won't even try. We won't even say anything because it won't work. And each time I hear something like this, I just want to scream, like not at them, but just to the universe, because why? Your job is to tell that something is wrong. Basically, that's how things change. So that's the most difficult thing for me. Not difficult, but the things that I don't like at all. And it may appear from negative comments, constant negative comments, constant when a manager doesn't support your ideas, so constant rejection of ideas. And the third one I had,
depreciation of your ideas.
Depreciation, yeah. And the third one, that I've mentioned in the beginning, the group thing also causes it. So when people are just the same in your team, and they just agree, and no one even has this other idea to suggest. So it's not like they don't want to tell, they don't have this idea, and it's awful. So I guess maybe sometimes you need to have a person that is difficult a little bit to manage, but who produces the result. A little bit difficult to manage. It's this person is different. This person has different outlook, different background. It's not that easy for you as a manager, but this person brings a different perspective. That's it.
I will comment only one thing. If you're working with a regulator, specifically German regulator, BaFin, hello BaFin, I love you. You will be in a situation to say, I cannot change anything. You know why?
Of
Because
course.
regulations are made by the national bank or by
Of course.
government. So, but the rest, I agree totally with you. Where I face such kind of situations. Okay, if you have such kind of a position, maybe it's time to switch a job. Honestly, just go and switch a job. I will reiterate what I said at the beginning: trust, 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 trust. If we will have trust, this is the way how we are building our families, our relationship, personal relationship with people we love. This is the way how we have to build the companies, by trust, or teams, only by trust. I trust you, and if you trust me, it means nobody will lie, nobody will provide fake analytics, fake results. Nobody will try to come and take my achievements and say that achievements were done by that person specifically, not by me. Trust, 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 trust. So everything starts from the trust, and we need to have faith in the central part. Lack of trust means, that depends. Maybe your company, the business model is so specific that maybe the lack of trust is the social glue of your company. Happens, but not sure it works very, very well and very long, at least. So yeah.
Okay, I have a saying about the numbers and liars. So it sounds like that. Figures don't lie, but liars can figure. So in this case, it's a pretty cool one. And thank you for sharing about the trust. I would put maybe a little bit different. Trust is really important, but I would say believe in your team. Because if you don't believe internally and for real, it will be felt. And I think it's Ted Lasso, and that's quite famous quote, like a believe. And I think it's really important in highly sophisticated work, because what we're dealing every day, it's not carved in managers' books. We don't have playbooks like how do you perform under microeconomics struggles? How do you perform under the high-scale invasion in European countries? So a lot of things, they are unknown for us. And if we would like to be efficient as a teams, we need to believe in our teams. So trust and believe.
I think such books already exist.
Sorry?
Already now. I think such books already now exist, but they didn't exist at that moment when we needed them.
Yeah. Everything is changing, even buffing.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take the final rounds about the books. I know that I'm too pushy with it, but I think that's a fun part because text and books can give us really granular and really concentrated experience. So let's jump in it. Let's start with our guest, Anna. What you would suggest for our listeners as a book?
As a book, I would suggest Brené Brown, Dare to Lead. It's a book about leadership. It's obvious, but still it says a lot about teams. So it says a lot about her experience, author's experience of managing her teams and gathering those teams, and a lot of different failures were described there. So you can read it, and it's easy to read. So it's not like a scientific literature. And I guess it's worth to mention to watch a Ted Lasso series, at least one episode. I don't know, one to see this way when he puts this poster on the wall when he writes Believe. It's really motivational throughout the show.
Okay, thank you so much, Dumitru.
I will start with a joke. First, if our watchers and saw the episode regarding where to localize your fintech company, which country, or to passportization. So because of this, first, I honestly recommend to read the fiscal code of the country where you want to establish your business. But if to be honest, seriously, it's good. I mean, a very, very good book. And let's go to the basis. When you build a startup, you need to understand how the processes are working. And this is why I honestly recommend the Lean Startup, Eric Rice, classical. Not classical as Adam Smith, Igor mentioned in the first episode, but yeah, it's still in that very close to Adam Smith. So the Lean Startup is a very good book. I honestly recommend you to read it, even if you don't believe in Agile, if you don't believe in Kanban, if you think waterfall is the best thing humanity can invent. Read it. It'll change a small fraction of your mind. It will change.
Okay,
Igor,
cool,
what's your recommendation?
In this case, we're talking about teams. And I would like to thank Anna about suggesting this book to me about half a year ago. I'll be quite fair. I didn't read it till the end, but the name is Good to Great by Jim Collins. And it claims to be scientific based, etc., etc. That's not the topic that we're discussing. But the book is really inspirational, how you need to build the teams that stands out. The teams who are taking the things seriously and really, really motivated to change the things and perform and to get the things done. So it's a pretty good one, inspirational. So please read it and tell me what you think about that in our comments.
Seems like we finalized our today's episode.
Yeah. It seems that it took much longer than we expected.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank you, Dumitru, with a lot of nice comments and questions to Anna. It was really interesting because I'm sharing a lot of in professional life with Anna. We are overlapping with a lot of work. And it's pretty cool to see that you found a common ground and common discussions. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's honor for me to see Anna here, because Anna is I heard a lot of good things about you from Igor, so I'm happy to see you finally here. Yeah.
Thanks.
Igor, you owe me a beer if
Sure. Tickle mark. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate, and let's call it a day. See you next episode.